What up, players? I don't know what happened to that preview, but I'll have to take another snapshot of that. What a beauteous day today. I cannot tell you how awesome it was to get outside and oh boy, I think I had a pretty good walk today. Oh, let me get a good yawn out of the way. Good walk. I really tried to. I can't. It's not that I can't run, but running's just never done it for me. And whenever I've started running routines, I quit. When I do brisk walks, and what I mean by brisk walks is like 11-minute miles. When I walk, like they're very brisk walks. I always seem to stick with it a lot longer. So I got back today and I was drenched in sweat. It was like real early and it was already like 77 degrees here in Middleburg. So beautiful day. Oh, looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend. I heard Tuesday and Thursday are going to be in the 90s. So and Wednesday I think is going to be well into the 80s. So here's some beautiful weather coming, my friends. Beautiful weather coming. It's too bad we can't share it together like a normal Memorial Day, but that's okay because I think some good times are on their way. And spending time with your family in smaller groups, nothing wrong with that. All right, my friends, let's get into it. We're cruising in this book. I'm loving it. Look at that. Look at this. We're cruising in this book. We're cruising. This is week 1. So, and I'm liking it. I hope you guys are liking it. Oh, did you guys see? This is my new shirt. I told you about the Geek podcast that I've been listening to, and they have a Patreon page and they have a store. So I bought a shirt. They have a Discord, which I joined, which is pretty cool. If you guys don't know what Discord is, it's like an app that you can use and you can talk. So, do different things, post pictures and crap like that. And I've been hanging out and talking. You could talk live. So I've been hanging out with guys in England and all over the U.S. and a guy in the Netherlands. So it's kind of cool just hanging out, doing my geek thing, just hanging out, doing work. To tell you the truth, like today I was just getting some work done and hanging out and talking with these guys. It's a lot of fun. All right, let's get back into it. So John was, let's see, he had gotten his legacies and that's right, where we left off, he was asking Henry if do we really have a chance, right? He'd been having all these visions. Do we really have a chance of winning this war now that there's only 6 out of the 9 left? And Henry said, there's always hope. All right. Chapter 12. Henry and I go into town on Saturday for the Halloween parade, almost 2 weeks after arriving in Paradise. I think the solitude is getting to us both. Now that we aren't, not that we aren't used to solitude, we are, but the solitude in Ohio is different from most other places. There is a certain silence to it and a certain loneliness. It's a cold day and the sun is peeking intermittently through thick white clouds gliding by overhead. The town is bustling. All the kids are in costume. We have bought a leash for Bernie Kosar, who is wearing a Superman cape draped over his back with a large S on his chest. He seems unimpressed with it. He's not the only dog dressed as a superhero. Henry and I stand on the sidewalk in front of the Hungry Bear, the diner, which is a diner just off the circle in the center of town. We watch the parade. In the front window hangs a clipping of the Gazette article on Mark James. He's pictured standing on the 50-yard line of the football field wearing his Letterman jacket. Excuse me. His arms are crossed, his right foot resting atop a football. A wry, confident grin on his face. Even I have to admit, he looks impressive. Henry sees me staring at the paper. It's your friend, right? He asks with a smile. Henry now knows the story, from the near fight to the cow manure to the crush I have on his ex-girlfriend. Since finding out all of this information, he's only referred to Mark as my friend. My best friend, I correct him. Just then, the band starts. It's at the head of the parade, followed by various Halloween-themed floats, one of which is carrying Mark and a few of the football players. Some I recognize from class, some I don't. They throw They throw handfuls of candy at the kids. Then Mark catches sight of me. Oh, excuse me. And he nudges the guy beside him. Kevin, the kid I need in the groin in the cafeteria. Mark points at me and says something, and they both laugh. That's him, Henry asks. That's him, I say. Looks like a dick. I told you. Then come the cheerleaders, walking all in uniform, hair pulled back, smiling and waving to the crowd. Sarah is walking alongside them, taking pictures. She gets them in action while they're jumping, doing their cheers. Despite the fact that she's wearing jeans and no makeup, she's far more beautiful than any of them. We've been talking more and more at school, and I can't stop thinking about her. Henry sees me staring at her. Then he turns back to the parade. That's her, huh? There we go. Sorry. Looks like the computer looked a little weird. That's her, huh? Yep, that's her. She sees me and she waves, then points to the camera, meaning she'd come over, but she wants to take pictures. And I smile and I nod. Well, Henry says, I can certainly see the appeal. We watch the parade and the mayor of Paradise passes by, sitting on the back of a red convertible. He throws more candy to the children. There will be a lot of hyper kids there today, I think. I feel a tap on my shoulder and I turn around. Sam Goody, what's the word? He shrugs. Nothing. What's up with you? Watching the parade. This is my dad, Henry. They shake hands, and Henry says, John has told me a lot about you. Really? Sam asks with a crooked grin. Really, Henry responds. Then he pauses a minute, and a smile takes shape. You know, I've been reading, maybe you've heard it already, but did you know that aliens are the reason we have thunderstorms? Whoa, I didn't know that. They create them in order to enter our planet unnoticed. The storm creates a diversion, and the lightning you see is really coming from the spaceships entering Earth's atmosphere. Whoa. Uh-oh. Sam smiles and scratches his head. Get out of here, he says. Henry shrugs. That's what I've heard. All right, says Sam, more than willing to oblige him. Well, did you know that the dinosaurs really didn't exist? Aliens were so fascinated by them that they decided to gather them up and take them away to their own. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not that they didn't exist, it's that they didn't go extinct. Aliens gathered them all up to take them to their own planet. Henry shakes his head. I didn't know that, he says. Did you know that the Loch Ness Monster was really an animal from the planet Trafalgar? They brought him here as an experiment to see if he could survive, and he did. But when he was discovered, the aliens had to take him back, which is why he was never spotted again. I laugh, not at the theory, but at the name Trafalgar. There is no planet named Trafalgar, and I wonder if Henry has made it up on the fly. Did you know that the Egyptian pyramids were built by aliens? I've heard that, Henry says, smiling. This is funny to him because though the pyramids weren't actually built by aliens, they were built by Lorians using knowledge with Lorian help. Did you know that the world is supposed to end on December 21st, 2012? Sam nods and grins. Yeah, I've heard that. Earth's supposed expiration date, the end of the Mayan calendar. Expiration date, I chime in. Like a best used before date that's printed on milk cartons? Is Earth going to curdle? I laugh at my own joke, but Sam and Henry pay me no attention. Then Sam says, did you know that crop circles were originally used as a navigational tool by the Aharian alien race? But that was thousands of years ago. Today, they're only created by bored farmers. I laugh again. I have the urge to ask what sort of people create alien conspiracies if it is bored farmers who create crop circles. But I don't. How about the Centauri? Asked Henry. Do you know about them? Sam shakes his head. They're a race of aliens living on Earth's core, in Earth's core. They are a contentious race in constant discord with one another. And when they have civil wars, Earth's surface is thrown off kilter. That's when things such as earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occur. That tsunami in 2004, all because the Centauri king's daughter went missing. Did they find her, I ask? Henry shakes his head, and then he looks at me, then back at Sam, who is still smiling at the game. They never did. Theorists believe she was able to shift her shape and that she is living somewhere in South America. Henry's theory is so good, I think there's no way he's made it up that quickly. I stand there and I actually ponder it, even though I've heard of aliens called the Centauri, even when I know for a fact that nothing lives at the Earth's core. Did you know? Sam pauses. I think Henry has stumped him. And as soon as the thought pops into my mind, Sam says something so frightening that a wave of terror shoots through me. Did you know that the Magadorians are on a quest of universal domination and that they've already wiped out one planet and are planning to wipe out Earth next? They're here seeking human weakness so that they can exploit us when the war begins. My mouth drops open and Henry stares at Sam, dumbfounded. He's holding his breath, his hand tightens around his coffee cup, until I'm afraid that if it lightens any further, the cup will crumple. Sam glances at Henry, then at me. You guys look like you've seen a ghost. Does this mean I win? Where did you hear that, I ask. Henry looks at me so fiercely that I wish I had remained silent. From They Walk Among Us. Henry still can't think of how to respond. He opens his mouth to speak, but nothing comes. Then a petite woman standing behind Sam interrupts. Sam, she says, and turns and looks at her. Where have you been? Sam shrugs. I was standing right here. She sighs and says to Henry, Hi, I'm Sam's mother. Henry, she says, and shakes her hand. Pleased to meet you. She opens her eyes in surprise. Something in Henry's accent has excited her. Ah bon. Geez. Ah bon. Vous parlez français, c'est super. Yon personne avec qui j'ai pu parler français depuis longtemps. Henry smiles. I'm sorry, I don't actually speak French. I know my accent sounds like it though. No, she is disappointed. Well, here I thought some dignity had finally come to town. Sam looks at me and rolls my eyes. All right, Sam, let's get going, she says. He shrugs. You guys going to go to the park and through the hayride? I look at Henry, then at Sam. Yeah, sure, I say. Are you? He shrugs. Well, try to come meet us if you can, I say. He smiles and he nods. Okay, cool. Time to go, Sam. And you might not be able to go on the hayride. I need your help at home, his mother says. He starts to say something, and she walks away, and Sam follows her. Very nice woman, Henry says sarcastically. How'd you make all that up, I ask. The crowd begins migrating up Main Street, away from the circle. Henry and I follow up to the park where cider and food are being served. You lie long enough and you start to get used to it. I nod. So what do you think? He takes a deep breath and he exhales. The temperature is cold enough so that I can see his breath. I have no idea. I don't know what to think at this point. And he caught me off guard, Henry says. He caught us both off guard. We're going to have to look into the publication he's getting his information from, find out who is writing it and where it's being written. He looks over at me expectantly. What? You're going to have to get a copy, he says. I will, I say, but still it makes no sense. How could somebody know that? It's being supplied from somewhere. Do you think it's one of us? No. Do you think it's them? Could be. I've never thought to check the conspiracy theory rags. Perhaps they think we read them and can root us out by leaking information like that. I mean, he pauses and he thinks about it for a minute. Hell, John, I don't know. We'll have to look into it, though. It's not a coincidence, and that's for sure. We walk in silence, still a little stunned, turning possible explanations over in our minds. Bernie Kosar trots along between us, tongue dangling, his cape falling to one side and dragging on the sidewalk. He's a big hit with the kids, and many of them stop to pet him. The park is situated on the southern edge of town. At the far border are two adjacent lakes separated by a narrow strip of land leading into the forest beyond them. A park itself is made up of 3 baseball fields, a playground, and a large pavilion, where volunteers serve cider and slices of pumpkin pie. Ooh, pumpkin pie. 3 hay wagons are off to the side of the gravel drive with a large sign reading, "Be scared out of your wits. Halloween haunted hayride. Start at sundown. $5 per person." The drive skews from the gravel to dirt before it reaches the woods, the entrance to which is decorated with cutouts of ghosts and goblin caricatures. It appears that the haunted hayride travels through the woods. I look around for Sarah, but I don't see her anywhere. I wonder if she'll be going on it. Henry and I enter the pavilion, and the cheerleaders are off to the side. Some of them are doing Halloween-themed face paintings for the kids. The others selling raffle tickets for the drawing to be held at 6 p.m. Hi, John, I hear behind me, and I turn around, and there's Sarah holding her camera. How did you like the parade? I smile at her, and I slide my hands into my pockets. There's a small white ghost painted on her cheek. Hey, you, I say. I liked it. I think I'm getting used to this small-town Ohio charm. Charm? You mean boringness, right? I shrug. I don't know. It isn't bad. Hey, it's the little guy from school. I remember you, she says, bending down to pet Bernie Kosar. He wags his tail wildly, jumps up, and tries to lick her face. And Sarah laughs. I look at her over my shoulder, and I look over my shoulder. Henry is 20 feet away, talking to Sarah's mom at one of the picnic tables. I'm curious to know what they're talking about. I think he likes you. His name is Bernie Kosar. Bernie Kosar? That's no name for an adorable dog. Look at this cape. It's like cute overload. You know, if you keep that up, I'm going to be jealous of my own dog, I say. She smiles and stands up. So are you going to buy a raffle ticket for me or what? It's to rebuild a non-for-profit animal shelter destroyed in the last fire, a fire last month in Colorado. Really? How does a girl from Paradise, Ohio learn of an animal shelter in Colorado? It's my aunt's. I've convinced all the girls on the cheerleading squad to participate. We're going to take a trip and assist the construction. We'll be helping the animals and getting out of school and Ohio for a week. It's a win-win situation. I picture Sarah dressed in a hard hat, wielding a hammer. The thought brings a grin to my face. So you're saying I'm going to have to cover the kitchen alone for a whole week? I fake an exasperated sigh and I shake my head. I don't know if I can support such a trip now, even if it is for animals. She laughs and she punches me in the arm, and I take out my wallet and I give her $5 for 6 tickets. These 6 are good luck, she says. They are? Of course, you bought them from me, silly. Just then, over Sarah's shoulder, I see Mark and the rest of the guys from the float walk into the pavilion. Are you going on the haunted hayride tonight? Sarah asks. Yeah, I was thinking about it. You should. It's fun. Everybody does it. And it actually gets pretty scary. Mark sees Sarah and me talking and scrunches his face into a scowl. He comes walking our way, and Sarah, same outfit as always, Letterman jacket, blue jeans, hair full of gel. So you're going, I ask Sarah. Before she can respond, Mark interrupts. How'd you like the parade, Johnny? He asks. Sarah quickly turns around and glares at him. I liked it a lot, I reply. I'm going on the haunted hayride tonight. Are you going to be too scared? I smile at him. As a matter of fact, I am going. You're going to have to freak out like in school, or you're going to have a freak out like in school and run out to the woods crying like a baby. Don't be an ass, Mark, Sarah says. He looks at me, seething. With a crowd around, there is nothing he can do without causing a scene, and I don't think he would do anything anyways. All in due time, Mark says. You think? Yours is coming, he says. That might be true, I say, but it won't be coming from you. Stop it, Sarah yells. She works her way in between us, pushing us away from each other. People are watching, and she glances around as though embarrassed by the attention, then scowls at Mark first, then at me. Uh-oh. Fine then, you guys fight if that's what you want to do. Good luck with it, Sarah says, and turns and walks away, and I watch her go. Mark doesn't. Sarah, I call, but she keeps walking and disappears into the pavilion. Past the pavilion. Soon, Mark says, and I look back at him. I doubt it. He retreats to his group of friends, and Henry walks up to me. I don't suppose he's inquiring about yesterday's math homework. Not quite, I say. I wouldn't worry about him, Henry says. He looks to be all talk. I'm not, I say, and then I glance at the spot where Sarah disappeared. Should I go after her, I ask, and I look at him, pleading to the part of him that was once married and in love, that part that still misses his wife every day, and not the part of him that wants to keep me safe and hidden. He nods his head. Yeah, he says with a sigh, as much as I hate to admit it, you should probably go after her. Woo woo! Chapter 13. How are we doing on time? Well, we got time to start a little bit. I think we can head into chapter 13 a little bit, right? Why not? News is boring. You got to talk about the news, but this is more fun, I think. Kids running, screaming on slides and jungle gyms. Every kid with a bag of candy in his or her hand with a mouth stuffed full of sweets. Kids dressed as cartoon characters, monsters, ghouls, and ghosts. Every resident of paradise must be at the park right now. And in the midst of all the madness, I see Sarah sitting alone, gently pushing herself on the swing. I weave my way through the screams and shrieks. When Sarah sees me, she smiles. Those big blue eyes of her are like a beacon. Need a push, I ask? She nods to the swing that was just open beside her, and I sit. Doing okay, I ask? Yeah, I'm fine. He just wears me down. He always has to act so tough, and he's downright mean when he's around his friends. She twists herself on the swing until the rope becomes taut. Then she lifts her feet and spins her way around, slowly at first, but then gaining speed. She laughs the whole time, her blonde hair a trail behind her. I do the same thing, and when the swing finally stops, the world keeps spinning. Where is Bernie Kosar? I left him with Henry, I say. Your dad? Yes, my dad. I am constantly doing that, calling Henry by his name when I should be saying Dad. The temperature is quickly dropping, and my hands are white-knuckled on the rope chains. And they are becoming cold. We watch the kids run amok around us as Sarah looks at me, and her eyes seem bluer than ever in the coming dusk. Our gaze stays locked, and each of us is staring at one another. No words being said, but much passing between us. The children seem to fade into the background. Then she smiles shyly, and she looks away. So what are you going to do? I ask. About what? Mark. She shrugs. What can I do? I've already broken up with him. I keep telling him I have no interest in getting back together. I nod. I'm not sure how to respond to that. But anyways, I should probably try to sell the rest of these tickets. Only an hour before the raffle. Do you want any help? No, that's okay. You should go have fun. Bernie Kosar is probably missing you right now. But you should definitely stick around for the hayride. Maybe we can go on it together? I will, I say. A happiness blooms inside of me. But I try to keep it hidden. I'll see you in a little while then. Good luck with your tickets. She reaches over and she grabs my hand and holds it a good 3 seconds. Then she lets go. jumps off the swing, and she hurries away. I sit there, gently swinging, enjoying the brisk wind that I haven't felt in a very long time because we spent the last winter in Florida and one before that in South Texas. When I when I head back to the pavilion, Henry is sitting at the picnic table, eating a slice of pie with Bernie Kosar lying at his feet. How'd it go? Good, I say with a smile. From somewhere, an orange and blue firework shoots up and explodes in the sky. It makes me think of Lorien and the fireworks I saw on the day of the invasion. Have you thought any more about the second ship I saw? Henry looks ahead to make sure nobody was within earshot. We have the picnic table to ourselves, positioned in the far corner away from the crowd. A little. I still haven't any idea what it means, though. Do you think it could have traveled here? No, it wouldn't be possible. If it ran on fuel, like you say, it wouldn't have been able to travel this far without refueling. I sit for a moment. I wish it could have. Could have what? Traveled here with us. It's a nice thought, says Henry. An hour or so passes, and I see all the football players mark out in front, walking across the grass. They're dressed as mummies, zombies, ghosts, 25 of them in total. They sit in the bleachers of the nearest baseball field, and the cheerleaders who were drawing on the children begin applying makeup to complete the costumes of Mark and his friends. It's only then that I realize the football players will be the ones doing the scaring on the haunted hayrides, the ones waiting for us in the woods. See that? I ask Henry. Henry looks at them and nods and picks up his coffee and takes a long drink. Think you should still go on the ride? He asks. No, I say, but I'm going to go anyways. I figured you would. Mark is dressed as a zombie of sorts, wearing dark, tattered clothes with black and gray makeup on his face, splotches of red in random places to simulate blood. When his costume is complete, Sarah walks up to him and says something. His voice becomes raised, but I can hear what he's saying. His movements are animated, and he talks so fast that I can tell he's stumbling over his words. Sarah crosses her arms and shakes her head at him. His body tenses, and I move to stand, but Henry grabs my arm. Don't, he says. He's only pushing her further away. I look at them, and I wish with everything that I could hear what is being said. But there are too many screaming kids around for me to focus in. When the yelling stops, they both stand looking at each other. A hurtful scowl on Mark's face, an incredulous grin on Sarah's. Then she shakes her head and walks away. I look at Henry. What should I do now? Not a thing, he says. Not a thing. Mark walks back to his friends, head hung, scowling. A few of them look in my direction, smirks appear. Then they start walking towards the forest. A slow, methodical march, 25 guys in costume receding in the distance. How we doing on time? It's just 9:30 right now. I'm gonna read just a little bit more. Is that all right? Is that all right, guys? Yeah? To kill time, I walk back to the center of town with Henry, and we eat dinner at the Hungry Bear. We walk back. When we walk back, the sun is set, and the first trailer piled with hay and pulled by a green tractor takes off into the woods. The crowd is thinned considerably, and those are left are mostly high schoolers and free-spirited adults who total 100 or so people. I look for Sarah among them, but I don't see her. The next trailer leaves in 10 minutes. According to the pamphlet, the whole ride is half an hour long. The tractor going through the woods slowly in anticipation is building. Then it stops and the riders are to get off and follow a different trail on foot, at which point the scares begin. Uh-oh. Henry and I stand beneath the pavilion, and I again scan the long line of people waiting their turn. I still don't see her. Just then, my phone vibrates in my pocket. I can't remember the last time my phone rang when it wasn't Henry calling. The caller ID says Sarah Hart. Excitement rushes through me. She must have entered my number into her phone the same day she entered hers into mine. Hello, I say. John? Yeah. Hey, it's Sarah. Are you still in the park? She says. She sounds as though her calling her calling me is normal, that I shouldn't think twice about her having my number despite me never giving it to her. Yes, great. I'm going to be back there in about 5 minutes. Have the ride started? Yeah, a couple minutes ago. You haven't gone out yet, have you? No. Oh, good. Wait, we can ride together. Yes, definitely, I say. The second one is about to leave now. Perfect. I'll be there in time for the third. See you then. I hang up and a huge smile is on my face. Be careful out there, Henry says. I will. Then I pause and I try to bring lightness to my voice. You don't have to stick around. I'm sure we can get a ride home. I'm willing to stay and live in this town, John, even when it's probably smarter for us to leave given the events that have already happened. But you're going to have to meet me halfway on things, and this is one of them. I don't like the looks of those guys they gave you. I don't like the looks those guys gave you earlier one bit. I nod. I'll be fine, I say. I'm sure you will, but just in case, I'm going to be right here waiting. I sigh. Fine. Sarah pulls in 5 minutes later with a pretty friend who I've seen before but have never been introduced to her. She has changed into jeans, a wool sweater, and a black jacket. She's wiped away the painted ghost that was on her right cheek, and her hair is down, falling past her shoulders. Hey, you, she says. Hi. She wraps her arms around me in a tentative hug. I can smell the perfume wafting from her neck. Then she pulls away. Hi, John's dad, she says to Henry. This is my friend Emily. Pleased to meet you both, Henry says. So you guys are off into the unknown terror? You bet, Sarah says. Will this one be okay? Will this one be okay out there? I don't want him getting too scared on me. Sarah says to Henry, motioning to me with a smile. Henry grins, and I can tell he already likes Sarah. You better stay close just in case. She looks over her shoulder. The third trailer is quarter full. I'll keep him safe, she says. We better get going. Have a great time, Henry says. Sarah surprises me by taking my hand, and the three of us rush towards the hay wagon 100 yards away from the pavilion. There is a line about 30 people long. We get to the back of it, and we start talking. Though I'm feeling a little shy, I mostly just listen to the two girls talk. As we're waiting, I see Sam hovering off to the side as though contemplating whether or not to approach us. Sam! I yell with more enthusiasm than I had intended, and he stumbles over. You coming on the ride with us? He shrugs. Do you mind? Come on, Sarah says, and motions him in. He stands next to Emily, who smiles at him. He immediately starts blushing, and I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic he's along for the ride. Suddenly, a kid holding a walkie-talkie comes over. I recognize him from the football team. Hi, Tommy, Sarah says to him. Hey, he says. There are 4 spots left on the wagon. You guys want them? Really? Yeah. We skip the line and we jump into the trailer, where the 4 of us sit on a bale of hay together. I find it odd that Tommy doesn't ask for tickets. I'm curious as to why he let us skip in line altogether. Some of the people waiting look at us in disgust, and I can't say that I blame them. Enjoy the ride, Tommy says with a grin, the kind I've seen people wear when they told someone when told something bad was happened to someone they despise. That was weird, I say. Sarah shrugs. He probably has a crush on Emily. Oh, God, I hope not, Emily says, and then fake gags. I watch Tommy from the bale of hay. The trailer is only half full, which is another thing that strikes me as strange, as there are so many people waiting. The tractor pulls away, bumps along the pathway, and drives through the entrance of the forest, where ghastly sounds coming through hidden speakers. The forest is thick and no light penetrates other than what shines from the front of the tractor. Once that is off, I think there will be nothing but darkness. Sarah takes hold of my hand again. She's cold to the touch, but a sense of warmth floods through me. She leans over to me and whispers, I'm a little scared. Ooh. Figures of ghosts hang over us from low branches, and off hangs and off the drive, grimacing zombies lean against various trees. The tractor stops and kills its headlights. Then come intermittent strobes that flash for 10 seconds. There's nothing scary about them, and only when they stop do I understand their effect. Our eyes take a few seconds to adjust, and we can't see a thing. Then a scream shoots through the night, and Sarah tenses again as figures sweep around us. I squint to focus, and I see that Emily has moved next to Sam, and that he is smiling wildly. I'm actually a little scared myself. I put my arm carefully around Sarah. A hand grazes our backs, and Sarah grips tightly to my leg. Some of the others scream. With a jolt, the tractor turns back on and continues forward. Nothing but the outlines of the trees in its light. We drive for another 3 or 4 minutes. The anticipation builds, the foreboding fear of having to walk the distance we just drove. Then the tractor pulls into a circular clearing and stops. Everybody off, the driver yells. When the last person is off, oh wow. All right. We've got 2.5 pages and then we're done. I think we're gonna power through. Yeah, let's power through. Let's do it. When the last person is off, the tractor pulls away. Its light recedes into the distance, then disappears, leaving nothing but the night and not a single sound other than what we make. Shit, somebody says, as all of us laugh. It's in total, there are 11 of us. A path of light turns on, showing us the way, then turns off. I close my eyes to focus on the feel of Sarah's fingers interlocked with mine. I have no idea why I do this every year, Emily says nervously, her arms wrapped around herself. The other people have started down the trail, and we follow. The pathway of lights occasionally flickers on to keep us on our way. The others are far off ahead that we can't see them. I can barely see the ground at my feet. 3 or 4 screams suddenly ring out in front of us. Oh no, Sarah says and squeezes my hands. Sounds like trouble ahead. Just then, something heavy falls on us. Both girls scream, and so does Sam. I trip and I hit the ground, scraping my knees, tangled in whatever the hell this thing is. Then I realize it's a net. What the hell, Sam's asked. I tear straight through the twisted rope, but the second I'm free, I get shoved hard from behind. Someone grabs me and he drags me from the ground, and from the girls and from Sam. I break free and stand, but I'm immediately hit again. This isn't part of the ride. Let go of me, one of the girls yells. A guy laughs in response, and I can't see a thing. The girls' voices are moving farther away from me. John, Sarah calls. Where are you, John? Shouts Sam. I stand to go after them, but I'm hit again. Now that's not right. I'm tackled. No, that's not right. I'm tackled. The wind is knocked out of me when I'm plowed to the ground. I rush up and I try to catch my breath, my hand against a tree for support. I pick dirt and leaves from my mouth. I stand there for a few seconds and I don't hear a single sound other than my own labored breathing. Just when I think I've been left alone, somebody shoulders into me and sends me flying into a nearby tree. My head slams against the truck and I briefly see stars. I'm surprised by the person's strength. I reach up and I touch my forehead and feel blood on my fingertips. I look around again, but can't see anything other than silhouetted trees. I hear a scream from one of the girls, followed by the sounds of a struggle. I grip my teeth and I'm shaking. Are the people mixed in with the wall of trees around me? I can't tell, but I feel a set of eyes on me somewhere. Get off of me, Sarah yells. She's being pulled away. I can tell that much. Okay, I say in the darkness to the trees. Anger surges through me. You want to play games, I say, loudly this time, and somebody laughs at me nearby. I take a step toward the sound and I get shoved from behind, but I catch my balance before I fall. I throw a blind punch and the back of my hand scrapes against the bark of a tree. There is nothing left to do. What point is there in having legacies if they're never going to be used? Even if it means Henry and I load the truck tonight and drive off to yet another town, at least I will have done what I needed to do. You want to play games? I yell again. I can play games too. A trickle of blood runs down the side of my face. Okay, I think, let's do this. They can do all they want to me, but they will not harm a single hair on Sarah's head, or Sam's, or Emily's. I take a deep breath, and adrenaline races through me. A miraculous smile takes shape, and my body feels as though it has grown stronger, grown bigger. My hands come on and glow brilliantly with the light that sweeps through the night, the world suddenly ablaze. I look up and I flash my hands across the trees and I sprint off into the night. Dun dun dun! Chapter 14 on Sunday night. Yay! What a good book. Look at this. Look at how far we're getting through the book. We're cruising. We're cruising for a bruising. 153. Outstanding, my friends. Outstanding. I'm having so much. I had fun with the other books. I'm not going to lie. The Jungle got a little depressing at times, but it was a good book, right? And now you've said you've read it, which is good. By the way, there's an app called Goodreads. And it's a really neat book, really neat app. So when you read, you throw in there your progress. It's like a social media, I guess, progress kind of app for reading. And you have a bookshelf, and these are the books I want to read. These are the books I've read. You show your progress and all that. And I find when I use it, I get encouraged. I'm kind of inspired more to read more. So, certainly while we are reading together, you guys can, log the pages if you want. And, you find your friends and all that kind of stuff. And it's neat. It's really cool. I don't use it. I haven't been using it recently, but I was like, when I use that app, so I think I'm going to try. I think, son of a gun, I keep spilling drinks on myself. I'm challenging myself, and it's going to be tough, but I want to. June 17th is our last day of school. So I'm challenging myself that from June 18th to September 8th, that's our break, right? We start school September 9th. So June 18th to September 8th, 8 books. That's my goal. I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of stuff that I want to get done this summer. This is our second summer in the house, and we've kind of gotten the lay of the land, and there's some things like we want to redo the drywall in the bathroom, the master bathroom upstairs, and we want to do a little bit of work on that. So I want to try to get that done this summer, and I want to teach my sons, how to do that work. Actually, last Thanksgiving, I put them to work. My best buddy, the living room. He and I had started gutting the living room, his living room. We had done his kitchen. We had done his master bedroom. We had done his bathroom upstairs. We had re-sided. Well, I should say re-shingled, because we did cedar shingle shakes on a couple sides of his house. Trying to think what else we had done there. I don't know. We'd done a bunch of stuff. Oh, we'd put in a big sliding glass door into his kitchen. We're going to try to build a deck there this summer. So lots of stuff to do. My sons, anyways, they came over and they helped us. We pulled down the whole ceiling. Then we leveled it. And then we ran wiring, because he wanted to put in all this recessed lighting. So we ran all that wiring. And then we installed the lights, and we put up all the drywall. And I think the boys helped us with the first layer of joint compound. Yeah, I think the boys helped us with the first layer. And then John and I did the second layer. And I don't think that he's done anything since then, because they've kind of been trapped in the house. So when you do that work, you kind of want to tape it all off, and then say, okay, those that don't want to be in the house when we kick up all this dust, get out of here for a couple, get out of here, not come back. But that dust is it's very fine and it gets everywhere. So, you don't want people just hanging out in the next room. So anyway, but lots of stuff to do this summer. Got to work, a little bit, and I got a couple little projects to do, but I want to read 8 books. So, and I would challenge you. I would challenge you guys to do some good reading too. All right, let's do some news. So, wait a minute. It would probably help if I was on the right day. Okay. So, my friends, unfortunately, the number of people that died in New York State went up. So, again, 109 cases. It's not like, we're back up to this, insane number of people. And that's a lot of people. But, it's not jumping like crazy. Is this a result of the reopening? I don't think so. Again, it might be a little bit too early for that. I think it's maybe a skosh too early to really know that. So I think we've got to give it just a little bit more time and, really kind of just say, okay, what's coming of this, right? I think it maybe needs a little more than 2 weeks, but 2 weeks will be this Friday. So I don't think we've seen the repercussions of the reopening yet. But I know more stuff started reopening out here. So the tattoo parlor reopened in Middleburg. They can have one person in the shop at a time. The barber shop now has a number on it. The barbershop that I go to, it has a big phone number posted on it. So I'm not sure if she's going to start taking. She has never, in all the time that she's been open, which I'm going to say is probably her 11, 12 years, she refuses to take appointments. It's first come, first serve, bam. So I think that somebody said that when the beauty parlors and the barbershops, the cos places start to open up, what they have to do is they can let one person in, and then they have to wipe everything down, not the walls and everything, but they have to wipe the chairs down, the counter down, blah, 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 blah. Maybe even wipe the scissors. I don't know. Sterilize the scissors, and then they can let the next person in. So, for a hair salon, and I said beauty parlor, they probably haven't been called beauty parlors in a couple decades. And I don't mean that. I don't mean to degrade, and I'm not making fun of it, but I think that's just that's how I was raised, hearing that word. So there is a salon in Middleburg where they do hair, they do nails. I think that's it. I think they do hair and nails. I don't think they do. Maybe they do some massages or something. I don't know. But they have 6 booths. So how are they going to be able to reopen? I don't. Right? How? That's. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm not too sure, but we'll see. So, Governor Cuomo announced today a couple things. He says that New Yorkers, we need to do our due diligence and we need to continue to wear masks in public. This weekend is a big weekend. And this is kind of the weekend, guys, that is honestly, it's It's worrying me to the extent that, well, here's one of the things that I saw today. So beaches are going to start to reopen, okay? And other places are going to reopen. And this is literally, and go online and look at this, what they're doing. They're literally spray painting circles and basically kind of saying, you, family, can go in this circle. And that's it. So if you want to go to the beach, you can go to this circle, you can be in this area, and that's it. So, how do you police that? How do you keep that going? I don't know. I just heard that the one private campground that opened up here in Middleburg. Now, I hadn't gotten all the details, but I heard what happened is that they are only able to open for seasonal campers. So meaning people that pay for a campsite for the entire season that it's open. Because technically they are leasing that property and technically that spot is their property. But what the owners of the campground had to do is, number one, the bathrooms are locked. Number two, the pool is closed. Three, I guess they have like a lake. Nobody can swim in the lake. You can canoe or kayak in it, but I guess it's really not that big. And what else was there? Oh, and then they had to put a card access swipe card gate at the front of the campground. So the seasonal people get a swipe card, you swipe it, bing, bing, the gate opens up and you can go in. So I guess that's better than being closed. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting what people are doing. And I hope that, all these businesses are going to survive. And if we work together, I really, really think if we work together, we can help them. If we are smart, if we shop local, we can help them. People, and it's been kind of driving me batty. The people that I see, just got my 92-inch TV, I ordered on Best Buy with my stimulus check. Well, you're not helping your local economy. You're just not. You're not helping the people that are really going to be losing their jobs. And I'm not saying that like Best Buy and these places aren't laying off people, but it's the small businesses. Now, I want you to think about this. All of the businesses in upstate New York. Governor talked about this today. 90% of the businesses in upstate New York, so Westchester County up, 90% of those businesses are small businesses. And the state, because the federal government, these loans have not been coming through for the smaller businesses, the state has now appropriated $100 million to start helping small businesses in New York State. So everybody that's calling him King Andrew and, making fun of him and bashing him for the executive orders and the Pause New York and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that I think overall he's been handling it pretty well. Personally, I'm not saying everything's been perfect, and I'm not saying that everything was done correctly. But what I think is, generally speaking, the decisions he's been making have been pretty good decisions. And they're probably decisions that I would make. All right. So we've got to wear small businesses. I brought that up. So apparently, my friends, Yesterday we talked about all summer school is going to be distance learning. And the governor today talked about we don't know what school is going to look like in the fall. We just don't know. He doesn't know. He's not going to make that decision until the end of July, early August, which, I don't blame him. Schools have to put in these plans, but apparently a large group of parents have petitioned the governor and said this. Students that are special needs students that are in need of special education services, we need to have school for them this summer. Okay. Got it. Understand it. Where do we get the money? That's the challenge, right? And that's what government is all about, guys. Government is not a business for people. And I hear this all the time. Well, the government's taking my tax dollars. They just want to make money. The government does not make money. The government collects taxes and they provide services. They look at what we need as a society, as a town, as a village, as a state, as a country, and they say, well, here you go. We're going to give you those things. Okay, where do we get the money for that? And I'm not saying that I'm an educator. I believe that everyone is entitled to a good and equal education, but where do we find that balance? Do we say, okay, we're going to go ahead and let students with, special needs, special education needs into the building, but that means we're going to need a lot of adults to come into the building. We're going to have a lot of students that come into the building. Are we going to pay for all those people to have masks, for all the hand sanitizer? Where are we going to put them? Who's going to clean? Think about the the custodial janitorial staff that's going to be needed. I don't know. That's a huge expense. I don't know. Would it not be better? And I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really have wondered. And I know you guys are going to go, Mr. Martin, you are straight tripping. And you guys probably say that anyways. Might it be better for us to repeat this year? I don't know. At this point, I'm just not sure. We really only got two-thirds of a year in, and we're not going to have any state assessments, no SAT, no ACT. We missed out on a lot of stuff. Might it not be a bad idea? I don't know. Don't yell at me. Don't draw a picture, put it on the dartboard of Mr. Martin and throw your darts at it. I'm just asking a question. So some businesses, my friends, are saying, we're done, we're reopening. So apparently a gym in Valencia was given a cease and desist order, which basically means, here you go, gym. You stop, you need to shut your doors, or we're going to close you down. And the owner is going to get fined $1,000 a day for opening. And get this, any person caught in the gym working out is going to get fined $1,000. So I guess this, business owner is just saying enough's enough. I read the whole thing. He says, I sanitize my equipment. A friend of mine had a gym membership at Vent Fitness, I think, the one over by in Crossgates Commons. I think it's called Vent Fitness. Anyways, I went over there maybe a dozen times because you can go in. And I was like, yeah, what the heck? When you work out with a friend, sometimes like you're more encouraged to work out and keep going. And they had spray bottles, and this was like a year, well, it was probably like a year and a half ago. They had spray bottles everywhere. They had towels, they had wipes, and like whenever you worked out, you're supposed to wipe it down. But I don't know. Is that enough? I don't know. I just don't know. What did I write here? Oh my God. I can't read this. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what the heck I wrote here. Oh, President Trump today has now called on all houses of worship. This is not what I couldn't read. It was something else. President Trump has now called on all houses of worship across the country to reopen. So that doesn't mean that, they can defy what their states are doing. But he is declaring all houses of worship essential. So I don't know. Let's see what comes of it. But we have separation of church and state in our country. We have the ability to practice whatever religion we want. We are not going to be forced to practice any religion, and there's never going to be any state religion, right? That's what we have. That's First Amendment, right? That's the First Amendment to our Constitution. However, we also have the government has the responsibility to promote the general welfare. Before those amendments were passed, written in the preamble of the Constitution, it says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, we promote the general welfare. We need to make sure as a country we are safe." So that's why states have said we need to shut down, houses of worship for right now. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think that this weekend we could see things start to go a little nutty with this, with everything going on, with people going back to church. So let's cross our fingers and hope people are going to be safe. Uh-oh, lights are blinking. It's not good. What the heck does this say? It almost says, beaches reopening. Oh, I already talked about the beaches reopening. That's right. It looks like it said beaties are reopening. Beaches are reopening. Got it. All right, that's all I got for you for news, my friends. So this day in history. On this day in history, in 1846, the first major wagon train, apparently there was over 1,000 people, leave together on the Oregon Trail heading out west, right? We talked about the different routes this year in U.S. history, the different routes that took people out west, right? There's the Oregon Trail and then the Santa Fe Trail. These are two trails that take people. And then, of course, we did talk about the Mormon migration. But the Oregon Trail is where the Donner Party, right? The Donner family gets trapped and will have to resort to cannibalism to survive the winter. On this day in 1856, Congressman Preston, Brooks pummels with a cane Congressman Charles Sumner, and they are fighting in Congress over the expansion of slavery. Preston Brooks is an advocate for slavery to move out west. Sumner, a northerner, is not. So things are getting violent in Congress. 1856, not long after the Kansas-Nebraska Act. In 1868, I thought this was kind of cool. was the Great Train Robbery, right? The trains have been, being built, or railroads are being built and have been built throughout our country for about 40 years at this point. But the 1860s is when the trains are really taken off in regards to railroads just being built all over the place, including the transcontinental. The Transcontinental Railroad, and this train robbery that takes place. $98,000 is taken in that great train robbery, 1868. On this day, my friends, in 1967, I did not get to see the movie about him, but Tom Hanks played Mr. Rogers, right? And on this day in 1967, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood premieres and, is for, I think, almost 4 full decades, right? It is a beacon and a standard bearer for awesome children's television and for making people children, helping them and teaching them to become good people. And I will confess, I remember, there were certainly times in college, and I'm not going to lie, that I really got stressed out over exams. And I had a lot of friends of mine. Seems like a lot of my friends in college were science majors, and they straight tripped, right? Like they were like, "Wah! I've got labs due, I've got this due, I've got that due, blah, blah, blah." And they would flip out. And I remember there were just times where we would just be like, just totally going nuts. And we would watch in our dorm room. We had 4 people in our dorm room, junior year. And we would watch there were 2 different shows, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and we'd watch Bob Ross. And both of those shows, we would just be like, oh, look at the happy little trees. Look at the happy little painting. And Bob Ross would just kind of chillax us. And watching Mr. Rogers, it's just like 4 or 5 college dudes hanging out, watching Mr. Rogers with his little puppets. And it was just something about it that was cool and chill and relaxing. So I have been a lifelong Mr. Rogers fan. And I gotta try to get a time. I gotta try to find a time to see the movie. All right, and on this day in 1972, the first sitting president to visit the Soviet Union, Richard Nixon, travels to the Soviet Union and begins the SALT talks, the Strategic Arms Limitation talks. So Nixon goes to the Soviet Union and says, hey, listen, over the past few decades, we've been spending billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars on bombs ready to blow the living crap out of one another. How about we start to limit that? How about we start to kind of just chill? We could blow the world up, a couple hundred times over. How about we just kind of tone it down? So, today we think about Richard Nixon and the things that end his presidency, the Watergate scandal, but Nixon as a president did some pretty amazing stuff too. And it's too bad because I do think that, had Nixon steered clear of the Watergate nonsense, he might have gone down as one of our best presidents. I mean, he really, during his presidency, the voting age changed from 21 to 18, right? We withdrew from Vietnam. We have this era of new federalism, right? Where we start to relook at the federal budget and say, okay, we need to start putting things into America right now. We can't be pouring things into a war. We need to get our budget deficit under control, deficit spending under control. And he really does shift things for us in the right way. But unfortunately, what we're just always going to kind of remember him for is this Watergate nonsense, which it was, and it was not. It was a total a-hole move, and for what it's worth, like President Clinton, I hate to say it, but Republicans and Democrats alike kind of loved Clinton because the economy was booming. Everybody's retirement plans were nice and flush. And it's not until the Monica Lewinsky stuff that, for the most part, his presidency was, again, like I said, I mean, when he ran against Dole in 96, he destroyed Bob Dole. He completely annihilated Bob Dole. It was probably, I think it has to be one of the biggest upset victories in presidential history. It's got to be up there. You know what? I don't do this a lot, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to Google it. I think you guys know me. I'm not a big Googler. Biggest upsets in in presidential elections. I think it's got to be up there. 5 president. Here we go. Polk, Taylor. Oh no. Garfield. Oh no. Woodrow Wilson. Really? Truman is top 5. Oh boy. All right. Well, it's not in the top 5. Let's see if it's this one's got. Why is it top 8? Isn't that weird? John Polk. Oh boy. Oh, here we go. Ronald Reagan versus Carter. That's up there pretty big. Oh boy. No, I guess, well, maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to look that up. I wonder if I can just look up Dole versus Clinton. No, God, that was so stupid. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. 1996 presidential election results. Here we go. Boom. 1996. What? Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. Here's to my point. Clinton got 379 electoral votes. Bob Dole got 159. That's a pretty solid shellacking. Okay? That's a pretty solid shellacking. Yeah. Clinton took 31 states. 31 states. That's a pretty sound defeat. I remember going into that election, a lot of people thought that Dole had that's not a real chance. Okay, that's not a real chance. I think the other one that I remember is 1984 was who the heck was it? Walter Mondale, right? So let's try that real quick. Walter Mondale, 1984. Here we go. Oh, this is pretty bad. Come on, open up, you silly goof. Here we go. Yeah, okay, ready? Here, this one. This has got to be just about the worst. Yeah. Ronald Reagan won 49 states in 1984. Walter Mondale won 1. Michigan. No, sorry, not Michigan. Wisconsin. And one of the things I think a lot of people forget about that election is, and I hate to say it, this is the thing that kind of did in Walter Mondale. His running mate was a woman, Geraldine Ferrara. So Walter Mondale, a Democrat, super progressive, 1984, picking a woman as his running mate, and they thought it was the time. And that's one of the things that I think we're gonna see. Joe Biden has pledged to pick a woman as his running mate in this upcoming election, and we'll see if he actually does it. I think if he doesn't, he's going to be in big trouble. But we may have the first woman elected to the White House. It would be as a vice president, not as a president. But we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. I'm not sure. So, well, anyways, guys, enough rambling for tonight. Be good, stay out of trouble, would you? For once, I'm just loving the book. We're cranking through it. And, be good tomorrow. Have a good day. I think the weather is supposed to be gorgeous all weekend. I'll see everybody Sunday night. Keep running the marathon. Don't sprint. Just take your time and we'll get there. Okay. We will get there. And, if you need anything or whatever, drop me a line. We have no school Monday, so new work will go up on Tuesday. U.S. history, you guys are going to have a real fun project to work on this week. And, Pig, you guys are still cranking on your, portfolio project. So a couple more weeks to go and we're there. So be good, guys. And I miss you. And I'll see you on Sunday night. Be good.